Unparalleled silence, the starriest sky and fabulous rock formations easily turned by your imagination into gardens, cities or rock creatures are waiting for you at Bryce Canyon. Why else should you visit this extraordinary place that seems to be out of this world? Bryce Canyon National Park is located in southern Utah. Some people believe that the entire state should be one big national park because there are so many beautiful places that are worth protecting. The most famous and beautiful parks in the state are called the Big Five, and they include Zion, Arches, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef and, of course, Bryce Canyon. Bryce is a true gem. Here you will find rock formations unlike anywhere else, with an incredible variety of colors. Stunning views and rich flora and fauna aren't all. As it turns out, the formations and shapes of the park's rocks make it incredibly quiet here. You can compare this tranquility to that of an acoustic studio. The air is also exceptionally clean. Studies show that here you will breathe the cleanest air in the entire United States. The park is located at a high altitude of 2,400 to 2,700 meters above sea level and is far from civilization, thanks to which it has exceptionally good conditions for night sky observation. Under a cloudless night, you can see thousands of stars here, including the Milky Way's glowing belt. Bryce Canyon has international dark sky status since 2019. In fact, Bryce Canyon is not, and has never been, a canyon. A canyon is formed by river erosion, and most usually a river flows along its bottom. Here, there is no river, and the park is actually a type of an amphitheater formed by the rock weathering. Its origin is described in a beautiful legend told by the Paiute Indians. The flatland was home to magical shape-shifting creatures. They could change their appearance and become animal or human. Because their behavior began to offend the god Coyote, he got angry and turned them into rocks. Now they are standing turned into rocks in rows or embracing each other, and are a warning against inappropriate behavior. The Indians called today's park Ankakuwasewits, which means faces painted red. This name perfectly reflects the color of the rocks. In fact, the park is a part of the Paunsaugunt Plateau, which broke away from the Colorado Plateau a long time ago and began to slide, forming the Grand Staircase starting just beyond the Grand Canyon of the Colorado. The cliffs that were formed began to erode. Streams and, above all, freezing and thawing water that seeped into rock cracks contributed to this. You must know that for over 200 days, the temperature passes zero during the day, which means there are positive and negative temperatures in the park. The sandstone and limestone found here are very prone to weathering, which is why a certain type of rock amphitheater rich in unusual rock formations has been formed. This erosion is still ongoing, so don't be surprised when you visit the park again after a few years and the views will already be somewhat different. The most characteristic weathering formations here are rock spires called hoodoo. They range from 1.5 to 45 meters. They are mainly made of limestone with the addition of sand and clay. You will also find interesting arches, bridges or windows. You can look for a variety of fossils in the rocks. You don't have to take notes. We have included all the practical info in the description below the video. That's where you can also find links with accommodation, tickets to attractions and tips on how to pay abroad so as not to overpay on currency conversions. You may have noticed that the park's name is not an Indian one. It was named to commemorate Scottish settler, Mormon Ebenezer Bryce. In 1874 he was sent by his fellow believers to help settle in the area. The carpenter Bryce did his best, but it soon became clear that the cows he was herding were often lost and could not be found. In addition, living conditions here were not easy either. Although Bryce built an irrigation canal and a road to transport wood from the surrounding forests, it was called the Bryce Canyon. After 5 years, the settlers gave up and moved to Arizona. The name remained. However, traces of settlement here are much older and date back to as early as 12,000 years back. From 200 to 1200, Fremont and Anasazi Indians lived in the park area. Later the Paiute tribe appeared. Early 20th century is connected with the growing interest in the area of today's Bryce Canyon. A road and a shelter were built. In 1924, the Congress decided to establish Bryce Canyon National Park. However, some of the land had to be bought back from private owners before the present-day area of about 145 square kilometers was established protected. As soon as you enter the park grounds, you will sense that this is a unique place. Stunning views, incredibly colorful rocks with unusual shapes, all within reach. The park is quite small, but only in size, because you will be surprised by the number of viewpoints and beautiful trekking routes. To visit the park, be sure to bring a camera with a large memory card because there are so many scenic spots that you won't know which to photograph first. Spend at least one day exploring the park. First, go to the visitor center where you won't only buy lots of cool souvenirs, but also gather a little knowledge. Examine the park's model, then you'll understand how complex the area is. If you don't have much time, then make sure to drive along the Park Ring Road, which is approximately 30 kilometers long. Along the way, stop at the designated viewpoints because that is where you will see the best views. Simply brilliant landscapes unfold from Sunrise Point and Sunset Point. These places are basically a must-see. But you should also stop at Bryce Point, Inspiration Point and Rainbow Point. From these spots you will see the amphitheaters from a slightly different perspective. All formations are extremely colorful. Deep reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, all the way to cream and white colors, and everything changes as if by magic depending on the angle of the sun, the degree of cloud cover and where you are viewing from. What was cream color a moment earlier suddenly turns to gold. True magic. Also pay attention to the magnificent plant life. Beautiful specimens of blue spruce, fir, California fir and ancient pine grow here, the oldest specimens of which can be up to 1,000 years old. Animal enthusiasts will be happy to observe the wildlife, including eagles, coyotes and gophers. While hiking, you will be accompanied by charming chipmunk squirrels appearing in many places. However, a tour of the park will not be complete if you don't walk at least a part of one of the numerous hiking trails offered. There are quite a few of them here, and since they are of different difficulty levels, you will always find a trail that suits you. In summer and early autumn, remember to bring water with you because the temperatures can get really high here. Your imagination will be working at full speed during each of the hikes. You'll feel like wandering through the streets of medieval towns, among Indian temples or fortified walls, unless your imagination suggests something else. Several interesting trails run along the edges of the amphitheaters. One of the most popular is Sunset to Sunrise. At a fast pace you'll walk it in 15 minutes, but aim for a longer walk to enjoy the extraordinary views in peace. Many of the formations you'll see have their own names. This route is part of another, also easy one, called Rim Trail. It is led along the edge of the amphitheater and it's almost 18 kilometers long. It will take about 7.5 hours to walk the whole way. Mossy Cave hike is very interesting, although short and simple. You have to walk for about 3 kilometers along the river. At the end you will come across a charming cave and a waterfall. From Sunrise Point you can also go down to Queen's Garden, one of the prettiest places in the park. You can combine a trip to Queen's Garden with a slightly more difficult and longer route, but very pleasant, the Navajo Loop. The trail ascends to Sunset Point where the descent is quite gentle and ends at Sunrise Point. Along the way you will walk among beautiful hoodoos with fabulous colors. If the weather is good, take a look up at the sky, which takes on an unusual cornflower blue color here. If you are a skilled hiker, then you can choose the Fairyland Loop. This is quite a demanding trail of 13 kilometers with numerous elevation points. You will get tired, but the experience will be otherworldly. You can also take a trip around the park on horses or mules. Bryce Canyon National Park is open all year round. In spring and early summer the beauty is enhanced by natural wildflower carpets. In winter you will get to see the park in a completely different way. The spires will be covered with snow, giving them a totally new look. If you like birds, then you must come here between May and October when the birds are most active. Most tourists are most likely to visit between May and September. That's when the weather is fairly steady, although you have to expect cool nights and a large number of visitors. July and August are the warmest. From October to April the park is calmer, it's easier to get accommodation and prices are lower. The park is located high up, so in winter it can be really cold and it can snow heavily. some trails and roads may then be closed. The park can be reached by Road 12, to which you have to take exit 15. Many signboards won't let you miss the exit. The drive along Road 12 will be exciting itself. This road is extremely scenic, and in addition to a lot of wonderfully shaped rocks and cliffs, it is highlighted by a drive under a natural rock bridge. Just before entering the park, stop in the small town of Bryce. The old shopping center will make you feel just like in the old Wild West. You can also leave your car here and get to the park by a free shuttle bus system that runs from April to October. This is a great option during the summer when the parking lots in the park are packed heavily. Shuttle bus is also a very good option to explore the park. Just take off at any of the numerous stops and enjoy the views and the hike. You just have to remember that they run at specific times. You can also visit the park by your own car. There is a parking lot near each viewpoint. An interesting option is to visit the park on horseback. Horseback tours take place in groups with a guide. You will feel like an American pioneer traversing America on a horse. These tours starts from the village of Bryce. You can spend the night in any of the nearby towns, for example in Antimony, Hatch, Tropic, or many others. There you will find motels and hotels of various class, as well as campgrounds. The access from them is easy and fast. Prices vary, of course. The closer you get to the park, the higher they tend to be. The most atmospheric will probably be the accommodations in Bryce. While there are quite a few different hotels there, due to their close location to the park, they are not the cheapest ones. However, staying overnight in the park will be the biggest fun. There are two campgrounds, North Campground and Sunset Campground. North Campground is open from the 1st of April to the 21st of December. You can't book slots in advance because it operates on a first-come, first-served basis. The second campground operates from the 20th of May to the 15th of October. Reservations apply, but there is a certain number of spots for those who apply first. Why is staying in the park overnight worth it? Unusual silence interrupted only occasionally by the sounds of the forest will be a real change for all those who are constantly plunged into the urban hustle and bustle. Many people are also attracted to the area by the view of the night sky lit up with thousands of stars. High altitude and air clarity of this fabulous place will make it seem as if the stars are at your fingertips. If you'll be spending the night, be sure to head to any of the viewpoints to see the hoodoo in the glow of the rising or setting sun day. If you're already planning your trip, you can find accommodation and tickets to attractions on the spot in the links under the video description. You can also order a card for cheap payments abroad the same way. Press the bell and subscribe to our channel if you want to receive notifications about new episodes. Have a nice trip.